Space Jam: A New Legacy 2021. Welcome back to Streetball Strategies basketball movie reviews. Space Jam: A New Legacy stars LeBron James, Don Cheadle, and the Looney Tunes. In Space Jam: A New Legacy, LeBron James' son is kidnapped by a Warner Brothers computer program played by Don Cheadle, and the only way he can get him back is to beat Don Cheadle's basketball team. Now, I don't want to spend too much time comparing this movie to the original Space Jam, but I do think there are some significant differences that take place between the two that I do want to mention. Number one, in terms of character, so LeBron James compared to Michael Jordan. In the original Space Jam, Michael Jordan was simply Michael Jordan. He was a nice guy, basketball hero, Michael Jordan, and that's all he ever was in that movie. But in A New Legacy, LeBron James' character actually goes through some character development. Because when the movie starts, he is shown to us as a overbearing father who's trying to teach his sons how to play basketball and become great players like himself, but he does it through drilling fundamentals into them and disregarding fun altogether. And what this essentially does is it kind of makes LeBron a bad guy to start the movie. Like, we don't like him or his character as an overbearing father as the movie starts.
Basketball camp is next weekend. You got amazing potential on the court, and I can help you get there.
That's not what I want, Dad. You never let me do what I want to do. You never let me just do me.
But then what happens? His son is kidnapped. What does that do? That essentially makes LeBron James a victim.
This is the Serververse.
What'd you do to my son? Where's Dom?
The only way you're getting your son back is if you and I play a little basketball.
So he goes from being this overbearing father that we don't really even like. I mean, even if you're a LeBron James fan, you would kind of be like, hey, LeBron, back off. It's your son. Let him have some fun. He goes from that to now he's supposed to be an apathetic character that we're supposed to feel sorry for because his son was kidnapped. As opposed to the original Space Jam, where Michael Jordan was a retired basketball player. He was just minding his own business on the golf course with Larry Bird and Bill Murray, as you would do. And Michael Jordan was the one kidnapped by Bugs Bunny, who then pretty much begs for his help. We need your help! So Michael Jordan was asked to be the hero of that movie, whereas LeBron James, who starts the movie off as someone we don't really like, he then becomes a victim, and now we're supposed to feel sorry for him, and he's the one now begging Warner Brothers characters for their help to save his son. Which also is funny and ironic, because essentially what is LeBron doing in that case? Well, he's building another super team.
I need to assemble an elite team to help get my son back.
I know what you're looking for. A dream team.
And I'm only joking about that. I don't really care one way or the other about LeBron building super teams and all that kind of stuff. I just find it kind of funny and ironic. And also, I'm the kind of person, I like to study patterns, I like to study society, and I just find it interesting that in the 25 years between the two movies, we've gone from Michael Jordan being the retired basketball star who's begged for his basketball help to be the basketball hero. We've gone from that to now, ooh, LeBron James, he's a victim, and now we have to feel sorry for him because his son was kidnapped. So we've gone from retired, reluctant basketball hero to basketball victim in the last 25 years. I just find that interesting and significant enough to mention in this review. There is also controversy about this movie being one big propaganda, one big commercial for Warner Brothers. Because throughout the movie, Warner Brothers characters and properties make all kinds of appearances throughout this movie, cameos throughout this movie. And people are seeing this and they are apparently bothered by it, that Warner Brothers would have all these other properties and characters make appearances in this Space Jam movie. They feel like it's one big commercial and they don't like that. My take on that is that it's Warner Brothers movie and they can do whatever the hell they want with their movie. And as far as I'm concerned, it is genius for them to do that. Think about it, they have LeBron James, they're making a new Space Jam movie. Those two factors just in themselves are gonna bring in tons of people to watch this movie. Because of that, why wouldn't they have as many characters and properties featured and cameoed in this movie as they possibly can? It's a fun movie that's supposed to be marketed to children. The more children's eyes they can get on as many Warner Brothers properties as possible, how brilliant is that? That's exactly what they should be doing. If you were Warner Brothers and you were trying to expose as many people as possible to as many products of yours as possible, this is exactly what you would do, and it's brilliant. And they're not trying to hide it either. They're completely leaning into the idea of like, hey everybody, here's all our Warner Brothers stuff, check it out. They're not hiding it, they're not pretending that that's not what they're doing. They're completely into it. It makes complete sense for them to be doing that. They should be doing it, and it's very smart business-wise for them to do that. So far, the general reaction to this movie seems to be kind of skewed in my opinion. So people either have like wrong expectations for this movie, or people are coming into this movie watching it and they already don't like LeBron James, so they're obviously not gonna like this movie. It's a fun, over-the-top, goofy basketball movie that's aimed at kids, and that's what it does, and it does it good enough. Here's the deal, if you want to enjoy this movie as much as you possibly can, just think to yourself, I'm going into this movie open to have a good time, to enjoy myself, to realize that the movie, the characters, the story is goofy, loony, over the top basketball movie intended for kids. If you do that, then that's the way you enjoy the movie the most. And in terms of the actual basketball in the movie, it's kind of hard to make a judgment and criticize the basketball in this movie because it's not traditional basketball. Not only is it like the kind of Looney Tunes basketball that we got in '96, but now there's like a video game element incorporated into the basketball. So now in the game, there's like special power-ups that you can do. There's style points that you get for pulling off fancy moves in the game. And the score ends up going into the thousands of points. So that's what we're dealing with when you talk about the kind of video game Looney Tunes basketball that's happening in this movie. There was clearly a lot of thought, hard work, creativity that went into making this movie, including the basketball in this movie, and it shows. For what it is, it's entertaining and it's fun, and it gives you what you want as long as you have the right expectations. So is Space Jam: A New Legacy a good movie? Yeah, it's a good movie provided that you have the right expectations going into it. I don't understand why it seems like people have expectations that this is supposed to be like Goodfellas. It's not Goodfellas, it's Space Jam 2 starring LeBron James. If you don't know what to expect going into this movie, then that's on you. Which answers the second question that I always ask when I do these movie reviews, which is, does the movie accomplish what it's trying to do? And in the case of Space Jam: A New Legacy, yes it does. It does exactly what it's trying to do. It accomplishes what it's meant to do. It's a silly, over-the-top basketball movie for kids in the Space Jam universe starring LeBron James. That being said, should you see Space Jam: A New Legacy? In all honesty, you don't have to. If you miss this movie, if you never see it, you're not really missing out on anything. Space Jam '96 was one of those movies that if you were a kid, a certain age when that movie came out, this movie was one of the staples of your childhood. I don't think Space Jam: A New Legacy is going to be that kind of movie for many kids in 2021. And I think the main reason for the fact that this movie probably isn't going to resonate and stick with young kids in 2021, because if it was going to resonate with kids in 2021, it probably would be because of the basketball, because of LeBron James playing basketball. Except in this movie, he doesn't really play basketball. It's the Looney Tunes video game version of basketball. Space Jam 96 was more of a traditional basketball movie as compared to this movie, which is probably the biggest reason it resonated with kids in 96, because of the basketball as opposed to the video game style basketball that's taking place in A New Legacy. Taking all of that into account, I give Space Jam: A New Legacy a C+. I feel that's appropriate because while Space Jam: A New Legacy is exactly what it's expected to be, it's also not very memorable. And something that's missing from this movie, something that could have helped push this movie into the B range for me, is that had there been supporting actors. In Space Jam 96, you had Wayne Knight playing Stan, Michael Jordan's assistant, and you had Bill Murray, both playing supporting actors who both added to the human comedy element of the movie and helped push the movie forward and keep it fresh. Space Jam: A New Legacy just didn't have that. But because it's just LeBron, Don Cheadle, and his kid, and the Looney Tunes, the entire movie, it does get kind of stale, and the movie is almost 2 hours long, and it's just 2 hours of that. And while it is 2 hours of what you expect, it's not really memorable, and it does kind of get stale after a while. So that is my review of Space Jam: A New Legacy. If you guys like this video, if we found it helpful, a thumbs up would be great. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, because when in the rare instances that new basketball movies or anything basketball related in pop culture is released, I like to do reviews of it, because you know this is a basketball channel, and it's rare that anything, you know, big in terms of pop culture when it comes to basketball, when it's released to the public and it's popular, I do like to make reviews of those products. So make sure you subscribe so that you can see those videos when they come out. And the way for you to know that those videos are coming out is to hit that notification bell. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next review.